Morning, everyone. Sue Nicholls here from CMKG. Excited to have you at today's virtual training course on refreshing your shopper understanding, a very important topic as we kind of still navigate through the during and after the pandemic. And so it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. I'm Sue Nicholls, and I am the president and owner of CMKG, and I'll be your facilitator in today's course. We also have Ty Snaith and John Rick on the live session who can answer any questions you might have as we go through the course. I really encourage you, you can use the chat box if you're having any issues or if you have any questions specific to the technical side or anything like that. And I'm also going to be asking for your perspective on things, so I'd love for you to use the chat box. We also have the question and answer box. And if you can see that, you can type in questions that you might want me to address, and I'll try to do it during the course. And if I miss it or don't have a chance, then I do have a Q&A planned for the end of the course as well. So looking forward to having a really interactive and great session with you, and I hope you find it useful. In terms of the resources for today, there are going to be student notes available, as well as a COVID shopper resource tool. And there's also going to be a third one available that's a shopper refresh tool that we put together specifically on this topic. And I'll give you more details about that at the end of this course. So we decided to run, I love running complimentary educational virtual courses, or what we used to call webinars, but we consider these to be more of a training event than a webinar. And so we've kind of decided to go with the virtual training course approach. But in LinkedIn, I actually asked for feedback on what are the most important things that people want to learn more about. And so the obvious choice was the changing shopper, as you can see from the survey that we ran. And so that's why I chose that topic for today's session. And we will be running subsequent sessions this year. And, you know, whether it's on Omni-Channel, which may be the next one, or refreshing your approach to category management, we'll be continuing to run things in LinkedIn to get some perspective from our network on what's most important. And we'll run some additional free educational sessions throughout the year. So, question for you, how many of you have been impacted by the pandemic in the last year? I know I certainly have. Probably the biggest thing for me is missing my beautiful family, and in particular, my two children who both live away, they're adult children. And it not only has it affected our personal lives, but it's also affected our personal shopping behaviors. I know I'm doing things much differently now than I was, just over a year ago. And so how much of our shoppers changed? When you think about it, and if you read anything on the internet, they've actually changed significantly in the past year. And if you didn't know that, then you really need to get updated here. But the work and home life has changed. Our needs, our shopping behaviors, they've all shifted. And in a few short months, consumer purchasing habits, activities, digital behavior, and everything has changed dramatically, making pre-existing consumer research, forecasts, and predictive models almost obsolete in a lot of cases. And so based on that, think about how you are changing your approach and how much you've changed your work to address these monumental shifts that have obviously happened in consumer and shopper behavior. So we really need to challenge the ways that we do work versus what we were doing pre-pandemic last year to stay connected with our shoppers. So I'm really here today to show you examples of some simple ways to reconnect with your shopper and get to know this new shopper in a different light. And don't hold on to things that you knew about the shopper pre the pandemic. So the shopper has changed so much that a transformation really is necessary. A lot of traditional brands are struggling today because they're not understanding the shopper. And it's even more apparent for those who didn't understand the shopper pre-pandemic. And now that all this change has happened in 2020, you know, and alongside technology, data, and the entire retail industry, it's all changed. So the connection to this rapidly changing consumer and shopper are really paramount for successful organizations in the future. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So in today's session, I'm going to be talking about 4 things. I'm going to give you a little bit more of an update on CMKG and who we are. Then we're going to talk about understanding changing shopper behavior, getting to know your shopper better, and remembering your shopper in all of the work that you do. And when I'm talking about your work, I'm talking as if you're a category management practitioner, a shopper insight specialist, a salesperson, a consultant, a solution provider, any of those kind of things, because this shopper is essential for us to understand in everything we do, because they drive the wallet and they're the decision makers that drive the data we have and everything that happens. And so I hope that you really find some value in today. I'm going to be sharing ways to apply new perspectives in your work for better business building outputs. And I'm also going to be providing kind of a templated way that you can go back after and try to replicate this for your own categories and your own business. So just a quick update on CMKG. So just to let you know who we are, CMKG is my company. It's my baby. I introduced CMKG to the world about 17 years ago. So yes, I'm very old, because before that I worked for Procter & Gamble for quite a long time. I won't tell you how long, or you'll start doing the math on my age. But we are industry thought leaders. We create best-in-class training. We've been developing training in the online space since it was invented. We are highly experienced and focused in retail, consumer packaged goods, and sales industry. Our target audience is category management, shopper insights, and sales, both in retail and in consumer packaged goods and suppliers, for both individuals and teams. So regardless of what size of company that you work for, or if you're looking for individual or team training, we have it all available to you. Another important thing, we're collaborative training partners with the Category Management Association, where we provide training to their members as well. So you can see it on the right-hand side. We work with a lot of different scenarios, and it's one of the most fun parts of the work that I do, is collaborating and working with different types of companies to really make the training relevant and insightful for different groups. We offer a variety of different learning options, including on-demand training, instructor-led training, both in the live space, which you know, that one is TBD, how that's going to go in the future, because a lot of organizations in this forced way of having to go to online training very quickly in 2020 has led to a lot of companies realizing that they can do a lot of on-demand training, as well as virtual instructor-led training, meaning that there's an instructor, but it's through a Zoom meeting, very similar to what we're doing today. And then we also have coaching, we have assessment tests, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later. And then we also have case studies and workshops. So we do have a whole variety for a blended learning approach that can be customized. We have site license and everything else. So as we go through this, hopefully you'll get a flavor for some of the quality of training that we have. The other thing I just want to quickly show you is the topic areas and examples. So we're not just about category management training. We do have category management training for those of you who are practitioners and interested in certification. But we also have training for sales. You can see that we have different types of sales program breakouts, as well as shopper insights and skill development areas. So you can see from this that we have a lot of different topic areas, from data and analytics, category tactics, retail and industry understanding, and so on. And then down the left-hand side, you can see our set of courses. We have I'm going to just zoom this in so you can see it a little bit more closely. So you can see when I scroll down the left-hand side, we have a very large set of courses that are available to you. Actually, I zoomed it too big, so now you can't see it at all. But if I scroll down the left-hand side, there's a lot of courses that are available. And you can see over on the right-hand side that there's different courses X'd off based on the different type of program that it is. And we even have it broken out in green is developing, yellow is capable, and orange is strong. So we do have different strokes for different folks, and we can really customize the learning based on your specific needs. And that program and course breakout that I shared with you, we will be sharing with that at the end with you. So we do have on-demand training where you can purchase courses, you can purchase programs, or you can purchase everything. You can see the dollar signs over on the right-hand side, and we have it, and over on the left, you can see that the on-demand training is for individuals and teams. We have in-person and blended learning, which is both for team training. And then we also have an annual learning subscription for those of you who might just want to be looking for, new and relevant training moving forward, where you can access 25 virtual courses and a whole bunch of other tools. So I just want to let you know that we do have different types of training starting at $125 a person, all the way up to, much deeper and customized training for you. So it's different strokes for different folks. So before I get into the actual training on Shopper, it's really important that you understand all of the complexity associated with the key data sources in our industry. Across the top, you can see we have brick and mortar, omni-channel, as well as pure play e-commerce. So different types of retail formats. And that really results in different types of data and outputs available through POS, retail direct data, panel data, shopper research, shopper insights, industry reports, and additional data. So no wonder things have become so complex. Outside of this course, I ran one recently on the Omni-Channel and what you need to do in an Omni-Channel category review and some of the things, because when you're thinking about all these data sources, we have to change our approach. We cannot be manually pulling data across all of these data sources to incorporate things. We have to be more strategic and much more focused on what it is that we're trying to accomplish when we're creating category reviews. And so when we're talking specifically about the shopper, we're talking, in today's session, I'm going to be honing in on panel data and some shopper research, because I want to really dig into that piece and show you the importance of understanding the changing shopper behavior and some of the details that you need to be considering when making decisions and recommendations that tie in with that shopper. So the first part of your shopper refresh, getting to know that shopper again and making sure you're not going back to what you knew or thought you knew pre-pandemic, is understanding changing shopper behavior. So a lot of the work that we do, we need data. And so I rely heavily on some of our solution providers to help with that, some of our partners. And so Shopper Intelligence has some great data that's syndicated shopper research data where they run surveys and then they can provide that back from a broad perspective all the way down to specific categories and retailers. So they're what they provided with me from a top line perspective is that this is important things to understand, prior to the pandemic, so the top 10 traffic and spend categories in 2018, 2019, you can see the breakout in terms of the traffic, the ones that drive traffic into the store, and then the ones that drive spend. And these categories have not changed in over 2 years pre-pandemic. So they are so stable and so not changing, and it takes a long time for them to change, like by 1 percentage point. But look at this, what happened in 2020? Just think about how many of these categories in traffic do you think changed, or where there were new ones? Look at this, everything highlighted in yellow is categories that have been added in that were new to the top 10 in terms of traffic and spend. Some pretty crazy numbers. And so really important to understand that everything has changed. And so categories that were not previously traffic drivers may now be traffic drivers. And a really interesting one to hone in on is alcohol. You can see alcohol over on the left is 40% traffic. And then over on the right, you can see hard seltzer and alcohol sparkling, both went in terms of growth in spend as well. So really understand how categories have changed and realize that they may be more or less important to consumers than they have been in the past. Another one is top growth category purchases online. So when you look at this section, you can see that we've got